This is how I really tend to introduce myself. I tell people I am someone. So I am my own person. I am someone's sister, someone's daughter, someone's niece, someone's friend. I am someone's provider of laughter and jokes, and to other people, I might be a pain in their lives. Yes, so I tell people I am someone. But the other thing I also tell people is that I am a human becoming. And for me, that means that I am constantly allowed to evolve, to change. And that also means for me that I try and look for situations or different sort of opportunities, not just the ones that I am comfortable in. In my professional life, I am a talent development specialist. What that means, if I was to dumb it down for a 5-year-old, mimi ni mwalimu kwa organization. I chase after my team members, my other staff members, to make sure that they are learning and relearning, which is very important in this industry nowadays. In terms of other areas of my life, yes, as Machango has said, I am a mentor. Because I've mentored for the last 2 SLDP cohorts, and not just for AYLF, but also elsewhere. And then what I've also done is I do a bit of life coaching on the side. And of course, like everyone else, I have my own hustles. I run an Airbnb, and of course, I jump in and strategize and help and give ideas when I can. I sit as the supervisory board chair of the Princeps SACCO, investment SACCO. For those who may not be aware, AYLF has an investment wing, and that investment wing is Princeps Investment SACCO. So there's a board that runs everything, and then there's the board that supervises the board that runs everything. I am the chair of that board currently. Having said that, before I begin, are there any questions? Okay, so there are no questions. Then let me begin mine. Quick question. Elvis, I've heard your voice. If you were to sing, what's the one song that you woke up running through your mind today?
Okay. One song I had on my mind.
Yeah. Today,
It's a song I listen to a lot of mornings actually. It's called. Should I say its name? Or
Please go ahead.
okay, yeah. All Right by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay. Sawa. Okay. I think I remember it. I think I know it. It's not my genre of music, but that's okay. Diana?
Yes.
What's the one song that you've had on your mind, either from yesterday or this last week?
I was here for yesterday. The whole lyrics of the song, but there's a part it mentions of nataka niwe na wewe maisha yangu. Yeah, it's a secular song.
Okay, sawa. All right. Aya, Bet, what's the one song that you woke up with running through your mind? Ama kuna Bet wengi. Keep Kirui Bet. Okay. Sawa. Let me change the question and shoot it at someone else. If this was supposed to be a bus, what would it be written at the back uko chini? If this session was supposed to be a bus, what would it be written at the back uko chini? Ama what would be the... No, wait, let me adjust kidogo. Let me ask that question again. Kama hii ingekuwa nganya ingekuwa inaitwa aje? Salome? Makasi?
If the whole session ama the cohort?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Okay, for the sake of Muka, what would you call the session if it was supposed to be anganya? Ungeita aje? The session first.
Doers.
Okay, doers. Okay. Then what would you call the entire cohort?
I was about to say thinkers and doers.
Okay. Thinkers and doers. Jasmine? Bennett Jasmine, if this was supposed to be anganya, If this session was supposed to be Anganya, what would you call it? Okay. Bennett ni kama amepotea. Kevin Kasimoto, if this was supposed to be Anganya, what would you call it?
Morning. I'll call it chutzpah.
Chutzpah, why?
Because of like the session helps us to build self-confidence and believing in ourselves.
Okay, awesome. So for today, what I've done is I've titled the presentation for today. Just a moment. Just find it. One moment. Wait. So I got a call and I was told, please come and do a presentation for the team. So I said yes, because this is part of what I do. But anywho's, long or short of it for today, the question I want us to think about together is, what's your story? Okay? What's your story? In the world, usually we say that whoever tells the first story, the writer of the story then appoints the king. When it comes to colonial stories, we say that the story maker is, of course, the king, because then they write and they praise themselves. So what's your story? What's the one thing that you share or you think about yourself? Yeah. And how does that work out? Do you make yourself king in your life or queen? Or do you just, give glory and grace to everyone else? And that means then that you don't know yourself. So you're in an SLDP cohort. One of the things that AYLF is really, really keen on is ensuring that we develop everyone. And we don't just develop you as an individual, but we develop you ready for positions of leadership. And so I will just remind you of this. I will bring forward to you this quote: go out and lead the world, but don't forget to begin by leading yourself first at home. You can't lead the environment if you can't lead yourself in it. Okay? I don't know how many of you are familiar with that song of I Know Who I Am. I was going to play it for you guys, but you're so quiet, I don't think you've earned being played for music right now. So,
We are
until
here.
that point, Peter, tell me.
I was just giving moral support. You said people are saying people are quiet, so we are
Okay.
listening.
Okay, all right. Awesome to know that you guys are listening. So we'll just keep going. If there are any questions or any comments, please feel free to just either raise your hand or just speak up. You are adults. Hard for me to tell you that, but you are adults. Please take this opportunity to be full adults, but please do not disorient the session. That's the only limitation I'd like to put. I work in an industry where we say change begins at an individual level. So if you want to affect the larger community, then the single unit in that community must change, and they must change so much and then change together in order to have or to create that change. So how do you change if you don't know who you are, or if you don't know what you need to change about yourself, or if you even don't know about yourself? Yeah, the basics. Again, just reiterating, if you can't lead yourself, then you can't, in summary, you can't lead others, or you will find difficulty in leading others, because there are people who come across situations and they become leaders, but they don't know themselves. And so things tend to go wrong. So what I'd like us to ensure is that by the end of this session, that you can describe who you are, and you can, of course, identify your sweet spots. Still, at the end of it all, then, that's what I'm going to ask you. What's your story? Yeah? Who are you? Yeah? What do you think you're capable of doing, and what do you want to do in the future? Sawa sawa? Okay. So, why should you know yourself? Anyone who'd like to have a go? Why should you know yourself? Tipape Vivian?
Well, I'd say know yourself because it will help you to be able to rather run your life as a person, and also in terms of, you see, this society, we are social people. So for you to know yourself helps you to be able to know how to rather navigate the society as a person. So it's very important.
Okay, so navigate society. Noel, thank you. Domitila and Miraya, thank you for your chat in the comment, and also Diana for sanity and dignity. Miraya said, it's only by knowing yourself that you know how you want others to relate better to you. And then Domitila states, in order to know how you react in various occasions and at least improve on that. Okay. And then Miraya also says, again, to get to understand your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay. I have one concern, gentlemen. Najuanga siku hizi, boy child msiachwe nyuma. Tumieni hizo base ama zijaingia bado.
Thank you for the chance. For me, I believe knowing yourself helps you to dictate how you relate with other people and how other people should relate with you. And also it helps you to know your strength and your areas of development. Thank you.
Okay. So know yourself. Know yourself to benefit yourself. Know yourself for the benefit of reacting or dealing or interacting with others externally. Know yourself in order to be capable to handle anything that comes in the future. So at the bottom of this presentation, you realize I've written, everyone has a story. Yeah. So if everyone has a story, then how do they discover about themselves? Why should they know themselves? Yeah. Of course, you've already answered part of this. Why do we think it's important to know what we are? But then I also want you to consider this. At an individual level, what would you say has greatly impacted you? At an individual level, what would you say has greatly impacted you? Jacob Miano, at an individual level, what would you say has greatly impacted you? Miano, you can go ahead. Okay. Morgan Waigi, at an individual level, what would you say has greatly impacted you?
Morning. As for me, I will say, for example, the kind of mentorships and trainings that I have undergone, and the level of education that I have reached has greatly impacted who I am today. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, level of education and mentors. Anyone else would like to go?
I can.
For
me, it's the extremities of poverty. I'm at a phase I'm running away from poverty, and the steps that I have to take, they're taking me far, and I have to get away from it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that personal experience. Anyone else? What would you say has greatly impacted you?
I think I can say how I've seen my mom live her life. I've seen her dedication in life. I've seen how she goes through things, and I've seen how much hard work can pay. So that is what motivates me.
Okay. One last person. What would you say has greatly impacted you?
I'd say my family, how we live, how they've
okay, they've greatly made me to become who I am. It's basically because of them. Everything they do, everything everything they do, it's because of them that I'm here today and I am who I am, and also what I've gone through life. Yeah.
So, Teacher Diana, thank you so much for that response. Yeah, finally, why do we think that people don't know themselves? Why do we think that many people don't know themselves?
I could answer that.
Salome, go ahead.
I think it's because of how people move around the world in such a way that you can be able to tell that they are confused in terms of identity and who they are as an individual. So yeah, it's how they present themselves to the rest of the world.
Okay, present. Jacob?
Okay, thank you. So I think for me, why most people do themselves is because of the confusion that exists. We're trying to, fit in a certain area or field so that we can be like certain people. Or if we have admirers, or let me call them people we aspire to be, we tend to try to be like them, and we end up losing our true self. Yes.
Okay, trying to be like them. Esther states fear of getting a deeper understanding of self. That's true. Teresa states a lack of guidance. Sorry, at this juncture, I'd like to announce that I have a feline creature that has decided it wants to be all over me. I apologize if it's causing any distractions. Mutazoea lakini. This is a part of life. Social pressure. Okay. Awesome. Mercy, hey Joy, thank you. Social pressure. Many individuals feel the need to conform to societal norms or expectations, which can lead them to suppress their true selves. Anyone else would like to share? Okay. So this is the point at which Richard Ogola, thank you so much, lack of direction, identity crisis, and the need to fit in. So this is a point where I will give some statements as a mentor. One, the pressure is always there, regardless of whatever age you are. The only difference is that as you grow older, the sort of pressure to keep up that exists changes. When we are younger, given that I'm a young lady, the pressure at times used to be how fast or how soon did you get your periods? It used to be how much access do you have, for example, to makeup? And then we got to university and the pressure became how good is your boyfriend and how much can your boyfriend keep up as compared to others? Yeah, and that might be where you are now. When you get a bit older, then the question or some of the pressure becomes, how good is your job? How much money do you have? How often do you travel? And as you get older, which is the 40s and everything, then that also changes. How good is a marriage? How long has it lasted? Are you single or not? What's your value? High value, low value, etc. Umejenga ama umenunua nyumba. So that's what I mean to say. Different pressures all through life. They just tend to change. Okay? The second thing I'll also say is this. Not all flowers bloom at the same time, smell the same way. Not all flowers that bloom at the same time smell the same way. What I mean to say is you are all possibly born together or you're all age mates. But just because you're all age mates does not mean that life will happen the same to each and every one of you. And therefore, it also does not mean that even if you go through a similar process, such as going through university or an institution of higher learning, that your outcome will be the same. There are those who come out of an institution of higher learning and they'll immediately get a job. There are some who will tarmac for 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 years, maybe more. There are some who go through a higher institution of learning and of course, they won't even tarmac. They'll just open a business and it'll pick up. And someone else may open a business and where? Ataona ngori. So please be conscious of that as you go through life. It's very evident that you will have a benefit of mentors and a lot of training as you go through this process. And please be keen about what you are told, or take some time to just think about it and also reflect on your life. So if you are keeping up with the Jonases, I wish you all the best. The only thing I'd ask you to do is please consider if that's a worthwhile expenditure of all your energy. Sawa sawa. I'll go to the next thing. So, who are you? Or rather, put it on a personal basis. Who am I? Why am I here? Where have I come from? Where am I headed? What's your purpose? Or what's my purpose? What's my life journey? So in the course of discovering or trying to discover or pinpoint who you are, these are just some of the questions that you'd have to ask yourself. Anyone who'd like to try and answer one question? Just one. Pick the one that you like. Okay. Richard, go ahead. The fourth one, where are you headed?
Yes, good morning once more.
Morning.
Where I'm headed right now, compared to where I was in the few years, I can say that I'm headed in a place of abundance, a place where I've grown myself from where I was as a young man. The journey ahead, I can say I'm headed to prosperity in terms of establishing myself, family, ambitions, career, even financially, and also expanding my knowledge. So I can say I'm headed in the right direction compared to where I was in the past. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Richard. Noel has answered, why am I here? And that's the second question. She says to serve a purpose, to live, to learn, to grow. Four questions. Sorry, questions with at minimum 4 or 5 words, and you guys are silent. Hey? Syllabus haikuangi ngumu sana, and there are no wrong or right answers, because this is your life, and I've asked you to reflect on your life. Anyone who'd like to take any other question? There's 6 questions. 2 have been taken so far. Machango, why am I here? For you, it's to find yourself, to grow yourself. You want to be full in order to pour into others. And here's where you belong amongst leaders. Okay. Please don't take a question that has already been answered. Take one that hasn't. Okay, Domitila, what's your purpose? To make a change, leave a legacy in terms, or I think you wanted to say of education and career. Okay. There are 3 more questions that haven't been answered. Who am I? Where have I come from? And 6, what's my life journey? Anyone who's willing to take a shot at one of those questions? Matango, are you raising up your hand? Okay, Jack. Okay. Let me allow Jacob to speak because he hasn't yet. He hasn't at this point in time. Jacob?
Okay, thank you. I had actually wanted to seek clarity because this question of where have I come from and what's my life journey, they seem to collide a little. But from how I understand question number 3, that is where have I come from? I think how I would answer it is I come from a place of challenges. Okay, I think it's more of colliding the journey, but I'll just share what I have.
Yeah, it's okay. Please do.
Or other moments of failure, but from them I've learned how to be better, how to grow, and how to maneuver the various things that I've been through. Yeah, that's how I would answer for now.
Okay. Maneuver and grow. Okay. Lucy, what's your journey? Let me read it as you've written. I'm in a transformational, growing, and learning journey. Okay. Yeah. Esther has responded to who am I? I am a wounded healer using my journey to make the world a better place. Okay. So 6 questions. We've taken our time. We've at least allowed some particular individuals to answer those questions. But more often than not, you would have to be answering those questions individually. Okay? For people who just go through life as they're going through life, they might not deliberately take time to sit and handle all of these questions at once. They might sit and handle these questions during different situations in their lives. You have the benefit of looking at them, facing them, and later on in this session to just answer them. Okay? So, what's your story? No, sorry. These are some of the experiences that then define you. Yeah? Your life experiences, your life events, turning points or life lessons that we've had. Kama ni character development ulisaviwa, then that's it. Families and friendships, those that you create, those who you are born with, those that you get along the way. Romantic relationships, and of course parenthood, when you get your own offspring and you have your little heartbeat walking around and things are happening. Yeah. Your career, your personality, your spirituality, your success. Yeah. Of course, your failures, your hardships, your victories, those things that disappoint you, and the accomplishments that you also achieve. Yeah. So those are just some of the experiences that define you. Those are some of the experiences that you could possibly go through that would lead to you answering the questions prior, or that would also, of course, influence how you answer those questions once you've gone through them. Yeah. And then, of course, what are your values? What are your thoughts? And what are your opinions? Those are really, really key factors of an individual's lives that influence what they do, how they do it, who they are in a particular point in time, and based on the actions that they take, what they become. Sawa sawa? Now, I can't just ask you a question and not show you how to possibly answer it. There are very many ways to answer who you are. And so let's just go through what I'd call the story framework. The story framework considers S. What are your strengths? And what action words would you describe what you do or what you did? Yeah. So as you think about your life, consider, of course, first, What are your strengths? What are the topics? Yeah. What are the areas or the things that you work around? Is it equipment? Is it people? Is it language? I don't know what it is for you, but of course, that's something again to consider. So, as you write your story, as you try to discover who you are at a particular point in time, then those are the first two steps. Consider the strengths, consider the topics, consider the opportunities. One moment. Yes. Consider your opportunities. Just hold. Sorry. One moment. Yeah. What are the optimal conditions? In what environments do you thrive? Yeah. There are people who work well, really well under pressure. There are people who don't. There are people who, if you put them in the middle of Turkana, they'd be valuable because they have the skills, they can transfer them, and Turkana works for them. There are others who, if you put them in the middle of Turkana, they will first start looking for sunscreen. Yeah. What are your relationships and what roles do you take? Are you the leader? Are you a collaborator? Are you a coordinator? Are you the person who comes and does monitoring and evaluation? Are you the person who's really good at implementing? And are you the person who sits and closes and puts everything together, or you're the documenter? And finally, yes, what are you willing to do? What is that one thing that you're willing to wake up in the morning for? Yeah. If someone told you, I need you to put everything to doing a particular task or a particular project or accomplishing something, what's that thing that you would say yes for? And you'd say all the way. What's that one thing that you would do or die for? Okay. So, having arrived there, are there any questions? Any questions? Okay. So let's do a small exercise. Okay, Esther says kindly elaborate on the topics. Okay. Esther, there are some particular things, rather, there's some particular sectors or areas in life that we work in. In a professional context, for example, those areas would be known as, I'll give an example. If you're in a professional context, for example, you're either working, let's say, in the IT sector, you're working in the human resources sector, you're working in the construction sector, you're working in startups, you're working in sales, such areas. So, what do you work on one level? Yeah. What are you most drawn to? Yeah. And of course, then you also consider then what do you work with? Yeah. You can be working with people, but your strength is numbers. So you're someone like who does analytics. So you're really, really good at analyzing. Yeah. You can be put in a project, but you're really good at coordinating. Yeah. So then you work better with people. Okay? You can be put in a space and you're really good at communicating. And so that's what it means when we say when it comes to the topics, what do you work with? Yeah? What's that thing that makes who you are, that delivers who you are? Yeah, or that facilitates delivering who you are in a space. Okay? Esther? I hope. Okay. Esther, I hope that answers your question.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you. Thank you,
okay.
Stella.
Sawa, karibu basi. So, I want us to just do this exercise for the next 10 minutes, yeah? So this is the first part. I'd like you to just take a few minutes, and those will be 4 minutes, to please jot down your story elements, okay? This is 4 minutes. It's going to be fast, but I want you to just take some time, reflect on your whole life. Start, of course, in childhood, as far back as you can remember, yeah? Did you do something well? So was it successful? Okay, Tipapa, it's okay. I understand. Did you enjoy it? Yeah? And so please use specific events and not general activities. Please use specific accomplishments, like something you're really, really proud of. And please use specific actions. So guys, please take the next 4 minutes to do that. And what you're doing is you're reflecting on your story, on your life, according to the story elements. Again, I will repeat that. Please take 4 minutes to reflect on your life and use the story elements. So take a screenshot of this particular slide that you can see, because I want to take it back to the story element so that you know exactly what we're looking to do now. Okay. I'll take it back to the story elements. So please use that to just spend 4 minutes reflecting on your life. Okay, so having taken those first 4 minutes, then I'd ask you to then please consider the following. With the story, what we're looking to do is find your sweet spot. In other spaces, it would be called finding your ikigai. In other places, it would be called your convergence of leadership, or your convergence of self. When everything comes together, what's that point where you thrive? What's that point if you just hit it? Yeah, you're good to go. Okay, and your sweet spot for you as a human being can be derived from very many experiences, all of them that you've had or you've lived through your life. So therefore, here's the second part. Yeah, write your story as you would narrate it to a friend about it, and use the following format below. Okay, now you'll write it, of course, the first time, so I'll give you another 4 minutes to just get that done, and then we'll move from there. So there's a part of this session that will then become an assignment. Sawa sawa? So write your story as you would narrate it to a friend, and use the format below. You have 4 minutes. Okay. Sawa sawa. Finally, please remember that for AYLF, what we do is we try to bring up leaders who are in line with God's word, just using Jesus as our model. So, as you also take, I know you'll be in breakout sessions, I'd also like you to just consider 6 key questions. How does your call relate to God's general call? Like, you have a purpose or you have a calling that you feel is over your life. How does that calling then fit into God's plans and God's purposes for you? How can you use your gifts in all areas of life so that it's not just limited to particular spaces and places, given that as a leader, you impact everyone? Does work hinder other life callings? Some of you may say no, some of you may say yes, some of you may say maybe, I don't know. But that's something to contemplate over. Do you have a specific calling that has emerged so far? Okay. Is your identity tied to a career or to Jesus? And can your work serve God? Question. And what if it can't? Okay, guys? Just something for you guys to consider going forward. So then, as I come to a close, I'd really be curious to know, what did you realize about yourself in that short session? Yeah. And what will you go and practice in the coming week? Of course, at this juncture, I also accept your questions and your comments.
Let's give feedback further on the session and these two questions she has asked. I will mention your name. Maybe you can go, and then let's hear what you've been. Isaac Kinyanjui. I expect that everybody should be on their gadget. Isaac Kinyanjui, unmute and talk. If I call you and you don't answer, I will tend to think that you put your gadget, and when we can have Mercy Joy. What's your take on the two reflection questions on the presentation? Mercy Joy. Otieno Obura, what is your take? Yeah, Richard Ogola.
Good morning once again.
Morning.
Morning.
My take on today's session was about the self-realization. And she also talked about an important framework, the story framework. Particularly, I was interested with the O under the story, kuna hiyo optimal conditions. In what condition, I mean, in what environment do you thrive? I took some internal reflection, and I gauged where I thrive mostly, and it helped me going forward to understand my environment and where in what particular time am I more productive. Then lastly, he talked about does your service relate to God and Jesus? Like, for instance, in your career, does your career serve Jesus? That one was also a point of reflection, because in whatever things we do, are you still here?
Yes, I am. I'm listening.
Your service to Jesus in whatever thing you do, let it align with Jesus and God's will. Then lastly, she also mentioned a part on finding Ikigai. I was interested in that part, but she didn't talk much about that. But I'll research later. Thank you.
Okay, so for anyone who's interested about Ikigai, there is a book on Ikigai. It's a Japanese philosophy on life. It's where a combination of factors come together to like get to what we've called here a sweet spot. But I've not gone through any aspect particularly of Ikigai. Your material will refer you to Max Lucado's leadership books. So I'd advise first do those, and then in case you have extra time and you'd like some more information, then you can go through Ikigai. I, however, need to say that Ikigai is not necessarily a Christian-based book. Yeah. Anyone else? Isaac, go ahead. I can see you unmuted.
Yeah, so for what I've realized about myself today, okay, if I fully explore and consistently explore my potential, I'll be, highly productive. And again, the topic on the topic on the topic like the on topics. Okay, what you work with, like, does what you work with or who you work with align with the purpose that you have in life? Since in our careers we may be remunerated as highly as possible, but it all, at the end of the day, it all narrows down. Does it align with your purpose? So what I'll try and work on is my consistency in each and everything I do. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Anyone? Last one? Okay, so before we also close this session, are there any other questions? Domitila states that my key takeaway was on the part of, for me to lead others, I have to lead myself first. I have to work on myself, know my purpose in life and why I am at each and every point. Okay, so I'll also close up with this statement from Rachel. I particularly had to literally pause. Book lovers will understand this. Was wowed after hearing this. Not all flowers that bloom at the same time smell the same. That was my takeaway. It was a lovely session and she really enjoyed. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for having me. I pray that may you go out and be able to do impact in your different fields and your different areas and communities to the best of your capabilities as possible. I remind you that as leaders, some of the resources that you need are near you. The only thing that you have to do is ask. I inform you as leaders that if you enter a meeting and you do not have an agenda, you will be managed according to someone else's agenda. And more often than not, you will serve to their benefit and not necessarily to yours. And having said that, I will close this session thanking Muka and AYLF for having invited me. Looking forward to meeting those of you who I'll get the opportunity to meet in the course of you doing your program. In case someone needs to interact with me, you can reach out. Muka, of course, can. Let me just one moment. +254 7. You can get me on WhatsApp on that number. I'm not on Instagram. I am on Facebook, but I will not accept your friend requests. And yeah, Facebook might also not be for your generation. I understand that. Yeah, so if you need to reach me, WhatsApp is the best place, unless you want to send me an email, and that is going to be on the following email address. Yes. Teresia, thank you. You'll definitely take a moment to reflect on who you are as a person and your journey and where you're headed. In case, please, if you WhatsApp me, just introduce yourself. I speak to very many people in the course of the day. Usipote hapo kituma tu hi. Haisaidiangi sana. Okay. Having said all that, it is now 10:03 a.m. I hand back the session to Muka. Thank you for having me.